Kal Halal, Yahweh, Bashim, Yoshai, Bashim, Rakal Kodash, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai. Shalom, double honors to LGM Great Millstone. Shalom to the elect of the 12 tribes, which are scattered abroad. Greetings. We call ourselves the hopeful elect because, why? Because we do not know who the elect are in these times. As the Bible speaks about the elect. In Greek is what? Eklektas. Which goes into what? Aristocracy. You got the elites of this world. Who is the elites of the nation of Israel? The elect. So it's just something to be quick. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Revelation chapter 13, verse 1. It's supposed to be a quick verse 1 and verse 2. So speak quick. And I stood upon the sand of the sea. Revelation chapter 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Alright, so what is the sea? That's the people. Prove that, as the scriptures speak about, prove all things in 1 Thessalonians, Revelation chapter 17, verse 15. He saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are peoples, and multitudes, and nations, and tongues. Tongues is different languages. Now the whore is a medica here, sitteth for peoples, multitudes, nations, and languages. That's a melting pot. So the beasts come out of the sea. And what is the beast? The beast is going into what? NATO and the EU. That's what the beast is. Rise up out of the sea, out of the people, having 7 heads. What are those 7 heads? So what are the 7 heads? Let's go to the picture down here. The beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. It's NATO. 7 heads, Germania Major, the Romans, the French, the Spanish, Germania Minor, the British, the Greeks. The beast with 7 heads, 10 horns, that's going into what? NATO and the EU. 10 horns represent the common market or the European Economic Community, which was known as the EEC, established in 1958. Today, the EEC is known as what? The EU, the European Union. Here are the 10 right here. Belgium, Denmark, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Greece, Spain and Portugal, England and Ireland, West Germany. Spain and Portugal, they joined the same date. So did England and Ireland. They joined the same date. Treaty of Rome. The Treaty of Rome, signed on March 25th, 1957, established the European Economic Community, which is what the EEC, known today as what? The EU, European Union, and is one of the foundational documents of what is now the European Union. It created a common market among 6 countries to promote economic growth through the free movement of goods, services, people, and capital. The treaty also laid the groundwork for other institutions like the European Commission and European Court of Justice. So the Treaty of Rome, signed on March 25th, 1957, started what? The EEC, which would later become known as what? The EU, the European Union, which is what? The 10 horns. That's what starts the 10 horns. NATO is an acronym for what? North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It was established August 4th, 1949, consisting of 19 nations: Greece, Italy, Spain, France, West Germany, United Kingdom, Portugal, Belgium, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Canada, Norway, Denmark, Iceland, Turkey, United States, Poland, Hungary, Czech Republic. These nations make up NATO, which is what? The beast. Now you have more EU nations today, but it goes back to these 10 horns. So don't be deceived by saying, well, you got more EU nations today and so on and so forth when it was established with EU. Established with these 10 nations. Alright. Back to Revelation chapter 13. 7 heads, we know what those are. 10 horns, know what those are. And upon his horns 10 crowns. What is crowns symbolic of? Like power. Certain amount of rulership power. The USA, Babylon is what? The head of NATO and the EU. And upon his heads the name of blasphemy. Surely that is what Esau does, blasphemy. Russia is not a part of the NATO or the EU. In Revelation chapter 13 verse 1 with the 7 heads, the 10 horns. NATO, Slovakia, Russia is not part of the 7 heads and 10 horns. Russia has never joined NATO. NATO was originally established to provide collective security against the Soviet Union and Russia. Russia, as the successor state, has never been a member. Successor state for what? That's referring to Russia being the successor state to the Soviet Union. Russia has never joined the European Union, EU. Verse 2, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. Who was the leopard? The Greek Empire. Which is also what? The beginning of Esau's rulership in the world, his kingdom. They call Greece is known as what? Like the beginning of civilization. But you had kingdoms before that. But, Esau never really had like a powered kingdom until the Greek Empire. You had the nation of Edomites back there with Jacob, but he was never like a kingdom, like a power like that in the up until when time period? The Greek time period, which began with who? Alexander the Great. Daniel 7. It's spoken about Alexander the Great. Well, what? When he went to battle, a leopard skin. Daniel chapter 7. Start at... The point is in 6. Start at verse 1. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and visions of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw my vision by the night, and behold, the four winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea. And this great sea is dealing with what? The Mediterranean Sea. Alright, let's go to verse 6. After this I beheld, and lo, another, like a leopard. So these 4 beasts represent what? 4 kingdoms. And this one's like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given unto it. Leopards are known to be swift. Alexander the Great, when he conquered all those kingdoms, he was swift in doing it. It didn't take him like 100 years to do it. He took the other kingdoms quick. Alexander the Great did not rule very long. He died young. No, leopard. What is the leopard known for as well? It's the Greek Empire. Back of it, 4 wings of a fowl. Who were those 4? The Diadochi. Who were those back of it, the 4 wings of a fowl? The Diadochi. The Diadochi were who? Ptolemy, Cassander, Seleucus, and Antigonus were all Diadochi, successors to Alexander the Great, who fought to control his empire, ultimately leading to its partition. Antigonus sought to reunite the empire, but was defeated at the Battle of Ipsus in 301 BCE. by a coalition of Cassander, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. Ptolemy ruled Egypt, Cassander ruled Macedon, and Seleucus established the vast Seleucid Empire in the east. That is who four wings of a fall, and also the four heads, and dominion they ruled a certain amount. First Maccabees chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian is who? Greek, who came out of the land of Kittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. Yes, the beast before the leopard was who? The Medo-Persian Empire. Which is who? Daniel chapter 7 verse 5. And behold, another beast, a second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. The bear raised up itself on one side, and had 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. That is who? The Medo-Persian Empire. You know, the Persians was greater than the Mede Empire. The Persians was greater in the Medo-Persian Empire. That's why it was raised up on itself on one side. 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. They said unto it thus, Arise, devour much flesh. 3 ribs in the mouth of it, between the teeth of it. 3, they came from the east, they conquered towards the north, the west, the south. That's what that's going into. And they said unto it, Arise, devour much flesh. It devoured many, devoured much. Took control of many different peoples. It's going into different regions. Went into it already, raised up itself on one side. Medes came first, Persians came later, but the Persians had more of the kingdom because they were mighty and stronger. They were the ones conquering and devouring much flesh. They were conquering and to conquer. So you see Alexander the Great, Darius, king of the Persians. Land of Kittim, what's that? Cyprus. Kittim is a biblical name for the island of Cyprus, and it's also used more alright, we'll leave it there. Cyprus is used in the New Testament though. You see Alexander the Great in Maccabees, home of Apostle Barnabas, and Apostle Paul went there. When Apostle Paul went there, it was during what? The Roman rule, as you got here, during the book of Acts. They visit Cyprus. The island was under Greek influence, since for centuries before becoming a Roman province in 58 BC. And its history is intertwined with Roman governance and biblical missionary journeys, particularly Paul's first missionary trip, which began there. Verse 2, and made many wars and won many strongholds and slew the kings of the earth. He did all this quickly, by the way. Leopard is what? A swift animal. And went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted in his heart, his mind was lifted up. You know, it said Alexander the Great, he was up in history, which is well overpowered. So he was just taking out people left and right swiftly. And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore he called his servants, now it's going into Diadochi now, such as were honorable, and had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. Who was this? Diadochi, Antigonus, Seleucus, Ptolemy, and Cassander. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. Oh, bye. Now you know who the leopard is. Alexander the Great, the Greeks. You know, Esau's his whole mighty his power and all that began where? In the Greek Empire, not the Medo-Persian Empire, not the not the Neo-Babylonian Empire, not the Assyrio Neo-Babylonian Empire, as some may call it. And his feet were like as the feet of a bear. Who is the bear? Russia. You can even look it up. Russia is widely accepted with the bear symbol, which represents the country's strength, power, and ferocity in both Russian folklore and its perception by foreigners. They say, while not the official national symbol, that is the double-headed eagle, the bear has been used in Russian art, cartoons, and plays for centuries, and is strongly tied to Russian identity. So truly, even you can see in the secular world, Russia is the bear. And most bear attacks happen why? For self-defense reasons. That's the idea. And or startle. You startle somebody. What's that human gonna do? There's a good chance they're gonna attack because you got the fight or flight response. And they even got a third one, the freeze response. Fight, flight, or freeze. They added the freeze. So for a bear, the bear, you shock the bear, it goes to fight. That's why most bear attacks happen, they say. Not because the bear was attacking somebody who was hungry, but because of what? The self-defense. Yep, here it is. It says the statement is incorrect, but what is self-defense? Defensive actions. AI's bugging here. But are defensive actions by the bear when it feels threatened or surprised? So, was right. Most attacks are for defensive purposes, which is self-defense. When it feels threatened or surprised, often involving animals protecting cubs or a food source. Very rarely, some attacks which are very rare can be predatory, meaning the bear sees the human as prey. In these cases, fighting back is recommended. Alright, so also, I am not liable for anything that happens to you as a disclaimer, and this is not giving medical advice. Nor am I giving advice here. Yahuwah Shem Yoshai gave you common sense. But as a disclaimer, this is not medical advice. If anything bad should happen to you, I am not liable for that. And I am reading this from Google AI Overview. I am not saying you should do this either. Go on back. And Yahuwah Shem Yoshai gave common sense that thing was talking about, with fighting and all that, with bears. You don't put yourself out there to be torn apart by a bear alive. Yahuwah Shem Yoshai gave you common sense. How much people use it or not, that's a different story. And his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the lion is what? Great Britain. The British lion symbolizes courage, nobility, and strength, with its use dating back to the 12th century. Most notably with King Richard I, Richard the Lionheart. It is a prominent symbol in English heraldry, appearing on Royal Coat of Arms as three lions and on the national football team's badge, while the lion rampant is the symbol of Scotland. Lion is Great Britain. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. The dragon is who? Ancient Rome. No, it started with the Greeks. Esau's his power, but when did the beast system, start getting its stronger power? During the Roman Empire, the ancient Roman Empire. This beast followed after the likeness of the ancient Roman Empire. Its culture, its philosophies, even up to its art, gave him his power. Ancient Rome was what in the book of Daniel? That iron. Iron breaketh in pieces many things. And his seat and great authority. Let's go to Daniel 7. verse 7. After this, I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast. That's ancient Rome. That's the dragon in Revelation chapter 13, verse 2. Dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth, weapons of iron. Teeth is weapons, iron weapons. It devoured and brake in pieces and stabbed with the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Oh, 7. So now you see, breaking pieces many people. And stopped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. One way was different, the military might diverse from all the other beasts. Also, it had a what? A senate. It had 10 horns. 10 horns is what? Germanic tribes, which you can see it right here. Burgundians, Heruli, if I'm pronouncing it right, Franks, Alemanni, Suevi or Suevi, Visigoths, Lombards, Vandal, Anglo-Saxons, Ostrogoths. Which the EU, the modern day 10 horns, this was the ancient 10 horns, modern day 10 horns take place where? In these regions of the ancient 10 horns. And that's about it so far. Revelation chapter 13, verses 1 to 2. But before, land of Kittim is where? Cyprus. Right? On that note, Shalom. Kal Halal, Yahweh, Bashim, Yashai, Bashim, Rakal Kodash, Barak De Yahweh, Barak De Yehoshai. Shalom. Double answer, El Jimas, great Muslim. Shalom. And on the last thing, note, feet of a bear. Why is it the feet? Take a man down. How you take him down? By his feet. Take his feet down, he go down. Russia is going to be the fall of Esau's empire. Russia is going to come against America, the head of NATO, the EU, all that. Book of Isaiah, many of the scriptures. Scripture speaks about the least of the flock shall draw them out. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of Yahweh that he hath taken against Babylon, America, and its purposes that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Chaldeans was the wise men of ancient Babylon. The elites of Esau, they got their wise men. And these elites of Esau can be watched as well, to an extent. Show you the least of the flock. Who was that? Israel. The small hats live today. JEWS. You had the Rothschild people do that, sign that thing. 1948ers. In 1948, it got done. And you have the state of Israel. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. When did Israel become a state? It's in 1945. What was it called? May 14th, 1945. With the Balfour Declaration Treaty. That's how that all, how that got done. Puts in the Isaiah 13th chapter. The Medes stir up the Medes against him. Babylon, the land of Chaldeans, the beauty. Where is it? In Babylon, the glory of kingdoms. The beauty of the Chaldees' excellency shall be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, as it written about in Isaiah 13. And it goes into wild beasts of the desert shall inhabit there. Neither shall the raven pitch tent there. Neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. The wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and the day shall not be prolonged. No longer going to be inhabited by humans. When it's burnt up, it's going to be burning a certain amount of time. Then it's going to be desert, and wild beasts of the islands shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there, and with dragons in her pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged, as it speaks about in Isaiah 13. Satyrs is a type of animal, and her days shall not be prolonged. America's days is not going to be prolonged from what it is now. It is a set date, and they will not be able to pass it. This is Book of Job, days cannot pass. Job chapter 15. Set boundaries. Job 15. Right. Job 15. 14, 15. Seeing his days are determined, who? Esau, Edom, so-called white man, red man pursuing Genesis chapter 25, verse 25. Red, mark of Cain. Cain's name actually goes back to meaning weapon. It was weird. Esau's blessing is a sword. The number, I said that was weird to something else, not anything in the scriptures. It's a weird noise. The number of his months are with thee, with Yahweh. Even Yahweh Shai don't know he's coming back. So truly Yahweh Shai don't even, know he's coming back. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. Because when Yahweh Shai come, his months for his rulership, his days, his bounds, all that is done. It's Yahweh Shai now. And Yahweh Shai don't know those dates for when he comes back and actually gets to take down Esau society. I got the brother Kasabakaya joining me. Got off plantation. Deuteronomy 29:29. The secret things belong unto Yahweh al-Hayaka. Yahweh our God, our power. Truly, the thing Yahweh knows, there are things Yahweh knows that Yahweh Shai don't know. But those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our sons, in Hebrew, unto our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. The men teach the women, and that way the women can learn. When I said sons there, I just want to double check. So, brother, where you going to go from?
All right, Shalom. This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 38, and we're going to read verse 7.
Oh, not ready yet, almost. I'm going to check the Hebrew here real quick. All right, Ezekiel. Yeah. Okay. Ezekiel 38:7?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Be thou prepared, and prepare for thyself, thou, and all the company that thou art assembled unto thee. Be thou a God unto them. So this is another piece of how Russia is going to play a part in the destruction of Babylon, which is America, which is the headquarters of Esau, Edom. In verses 5 and 6 of Ezekiel chapter 38 are the other nations that Russia is going to be a god unto them to come against Babylon, which is going to be America.
Let's go through it real quick.
And we'll go through it real quick. Verse 5, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet.
Libya's put.
Gomer. And
wait, Slovakia, Persia is Iran. 10%. Go ahead.
Gomer and all his bands.
Turkey.
The house of Togarmah.
Ex-Soviet states of the North Quarters as well with Togarmah.
Of the North Quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee.
Hey, the bands means someone united with them.
United with them. So this is another way how Russia plays a role in the destruction of Babylon. Not only will Russia be sending nuclear missiles, other places.
Yes, Iran was formerly called Persia. Looked it up. Which was used internationally for centuries. The country was officially renamed Iran in 1935 by its ruler Reza Shah Pahlavi to align with the name people had used domestically for a long time. It goes on. Those bros going into all that have what? ICBM nuclear missiles will shoot against America. So to bracket what the bro was saying with the ICBMs, all that bend the bow, all that bend the bow. Book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 14. Bring it out!
Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against the Lord.
Go into it, brother.
This is put yourselves in battle array. These are going to be these other nations. We just read Ezekiel 38, how Russia is going to be a god unto them. Round about, All you that bend the bow, all of you that have the bow, intercontinental ballistic missiles, shoot at her. Launch them at America. Launch them at Babylon. Spare no arrows. Arrows is another word for a missile. For she have sinned against the Lord. The level of atrocities that Babylon has committed against the Lord, first and foremost against the children of Israel, touching the apple of his eye. Examples: the transatlantic slave trade.
Working on the chain. Yeah.
And what was done to the northern tribe when the colonization began.
Colonizers.
The colonizers did to the northern tribes, to the so-called Native American Indians. Those are just two examples of many.
The great things they did that they weren't supposed to do. The pillagings, the torment, the sorrow, the pain, the misery, the trail of tears for Southern Kingdom and Northern Kingdom. The amputations, the experimentations.
The burnings.
Where do you think the GYN doctors came from, gynecologists? They practiced that on the woman without anesthesia.
Without anesthesia, yeah.
And how did they know the male anatomy too? Now that, I don't know, but don't sleep on this. And the rest of it.
And the lynchings and murders and separation of families while on those physical plantations.
I found it. Did some real quick research. Read that, brother, real quick.
Historical records indicate that the bodies of enslaved black people, including their genitals, were subject to exploitation, non-consensual medical examinations, and brutal mutilation by white individuals during and after the period of slavery.
So I looked it up real quick because, with the male anatomy. So, went looking it up because, I didn't know. Got the answer. We're at overview. Sorry, brother. Yeah, I'm butchering my speech now. Well, Isaiah 28:11 says, "For with stammering lips and another tongue will he speak to this people." Yep, speaking with stammering lips over here. Now, got my words twisted. Isaiah 3 verse 3, the captain of 50, and the honorable man, and the counselor, and the cunning artificer, and the eloquent orator. At one point, all our people was good speaking. Now you look in the ghettos, they speak awful. 2 Corinthians 11 verse 6. But though I be rude in speech, that's what? You're not being very eloquent if you're rude in speech. You're not in knowledge. But we have been thoroughly made manifest among you in all things. So, yeah. Anything else you want to bring out, brother?
That's all.
Stammering lips. Not the best of speech. Wait. Moses said, I am not. Yeah, Moses was not eloquent, man. Exodus 4 verse 10 and KJ 2:1. And Moses said unto Yahweh, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither hereto nor since thou hast spoken unto thy servant, but I am slow of speech and of a slow tongue. Moses was not the best speaking man. Moses was not what you call fancy speakers, a preacher. What do they call that, brother, when you stand up there and talk in front of millions of people?
A lecturer.
A lecturer. He was not a lecturer. Yeah. He's like, hold up, wait a minute. And on that note, Shalom. We're going to Panyaka Hakwadash. Panya goes into what? Face. Hakwadash. Ha means the. Kwadash means holy. So face holy, which is face towards the east, towards Jerusalem. Daniel prayed 3 times a day. Face Jerusalem. One way to prove that. No, Shalom. Ka halal Yahweh, Bashem Yoshai, Bashem Rakal Kodash, Brakte Yahweh, Brakte Yahweh Shai. Shalom.
Shalom.
The Bible says, El great millstone.
1 Thessalonians 5:21. Prove all things. Hold fast that which is good.
Proved it through the scripture, and it's good. So hold on fast to your truth, like no man to your crown. It's your salvation. Yahweh Shai is going to literally crown elect man when he comes back. So in the second address, Galatians speaks about, don't let no man stay your crown. Shalom.